Halo Infinite, in comparison with other games that came out this year, is one of the best games that you can play gameplay wise right now. The fluidity of the movement, the freedom you have to go wherever you want and do whatever you want, whenever you want, is a really beautiful thing to have available to us in the Halo universe, and something that we've never really experienced before. No menus to stop us, and no single objectives that have to be completed in order to just play Halo. Halo Infinite offers an amazing amount of freedom and the ability to just jump into Zeta Halo, not tackle any side missions or main missions, and just play Halo however you want to, even if that does mean just walking around the map and looking at the different structures, or just generally exploring it just for fun. And to an extent, this goes for multiplayer also. The fluid movement within multiplayer, the great variety of different weapons and vehicles, as well as well-designed maps that are available to us in the sandbox. However, it does come with its fair share of issues, and quite frankly, these things just let the game down massively. In today's video, I want to go over the top 5 things that Halo Infinite needs in order for it to stay relevant in the Halo universe and just generally in gaming, and even to the new and returning veterans of the franchise. Now, this isn't just campaign based, this is covering multiplayer and everything that will be eventually coming to Halo as well. If I do miss out on any points that you think may be relevant in this video as well, make sure you leave them down below in the comments. I would love to have a read of them. Leave a like if you do go on to enjoy the video, guys, and don't forget to subscribe if you're brand new. Ring that notification bell to be notified when a video does go live. We do upload pretty much daily on the channel, so yeah, you'll never be without content. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, I want to preface that this will be in no particular order, and this is just the 5 things that I think Halo Infinite needs. Your top 5 may be slightly different, but all of this is subject to my own personal opinion. I just want to preface that at the start of this video, as I know what some people can be like. Number 1, regular updates and content drops that are worth playing and coming back for. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it or put it, Halo Infinite is categorized as a live service game by 343. This goes for the campaign and the multiplayer, meaning that this game will initially release with a little amount of content, and over time the team will add additional content, expanding the overall game and modes and content that's on offer initially. In other words, the game that launched compared to the game that will be here a year from now will be completely different. This is especially apparent with Infinite. It offers the least amount of content that really we've ever seen in a Halo game to date, the one that's had a fully fledged multiplayer anyway. No Forge on release, a limited version of custom games, a theatre mode which in its current state is extremely buggy and doesn't really work, and no earnable in-game content such as Armour, and is only earnable through the Battle Pass. This is not the way Halo should be, and I appreciate the game's overall development wasn't great, and these modes maybe need a little bit more time in the oven, and this was the main reason why we see the player retention drop today. Not because the game is bad or is boring in any way, but because there's very limited motivation for players to want to play the game and grind, because there's not really much to grind for other than a battle pass level. I mean, in its current state, I personally find it quite hard and uninteresting at times to play Halo Infinite's multiplayer for long periods of time. As I've said though, this isn't because it's a bad game by any means. I actually think that Halo Infinite's multiplayer and campaign are one of my favourite combinations in Halo to date. It's really, really good in my opinion. But it's the fact that I've got nothing to grind for, nothing to master or reach the top of other than a battle pass which is fairly underwhelming. Things like armor unlocks and your overall rank. They're not in the game just yet from just playing the game, and the only way to unlock armor is either buy it on the store or use the battle passes which come to the game on rather event drops or just the general battle pass that you have in game. And it's just doesn't hit the same as a general ranking system, for example, like Halo Reach did it. This is why regular content and updates are so important at this stage of the game's life, to keep the players coming back until these additional features are added and ready to be released into the game. The event roadmap leading up to Season 2 looks jam-packed, and I'm really happy to see that. But for me, it's such a key point and it deserves to be mentioned first. Number 2. Daily and weekly challenges spanning across different modes. Now, I want you all to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane and think back to the Halo Reach days when challenges really became a main game focus. Not only did you get XP for playing multiplayer and doing well in those games, but you could also enhance this and get a large amount of credits at once by completing a series of challenges, or the big daddy, weekly challenge. I remember the struggles and the pain when trying to go for this weekly challenge, spending hours on one single campaign mission trying to master it on legendary without dying or whatever it might have been, and just feeling that accomplishment when you had finally beaten it was just amazing to know you've got all of these credits and you can now go and buy that helmet, or you can save a couple of hours on playing multiplayer by spending your entire life on this campaign mission trying to get this weekly challenge to buy that next piece of armor or to rank up to general grade 3 or something like that. It was just a really good accomplishment. But also, sometimes this weekly challenge would be a firefight challenge, then the next week it could be another multiplayer challenge. Halo was always and has always had this kind of diversity in its challenges, and quite frankly, I really miss that. I think Halo Infinite has the perfect system for this. Maybe they haven't done this in Infinite because the multiplayer and campaign are two separate entities, but surely it's simple enough as people with the campaign to have their own set of challenges to go towards the pass, no? I just think with Halo Infinite in its current state, there should be multiple different ways for you to progress your battle pass, and if I've paid $60 or £60 for the campaign, I'd expect that progression to at least count for something on the battle pass tiers as well, through a series of different challenges throughout the campaign, or just generally to have the combined challenges from multiplayer and campaign that I can use my challenge swaps to go through. I personally play way more campaign than multiplayer at the moment. This will probably change when a full progression system does come into play, but as of now, campaign is my main go-to, and not having the ability to progress through the tiers when playing is such a missed opportunity in my opinion. I can imagine when a PvE mode such as Firefight comes into the game, then we may have a little bit more variety in the challenges on offer, and could even see daily and weekly challenges which span across all of these modes. If you've purchased the campaign, of course. I do feel like this will be coming in the future, as this has really been a staple for Halo for the last sort of 10 years or so, and if not, it'd be a very, very missed opportunity. But I can imagine that Season 2 will probably be the where we see the most change in Halo Infinite. Number 3, a full ranking system and armor progression, also earnable unlocks. A lot of people, including myself, kind of feel a little duped by 343. I mean, we knew there would be no ranking system at launch. That was no surprise to us, as they already mentioned this. But they did also mention in some of the trailers and build up to the game that on day one there would be earnable cosmetics that you could only get whilst playing the game. But to my knowledge anyway, there isn't really anything other than the free battle pass, where the first free piece of armor is level 81. Now, this is tying with my first point, and it's a massive flaw in the Halo Infinite multiplayer and just generally the campaign. Without a viable ranking system in the game, it doesn't give the players a lot to grind for. I'm a completionist personally. I like to be max rank, unlock as much in-game armor as possible, cores, armor effects, and all of those sorts of things. But Infinite doesn't fill me with the motivation to want to rank up my battle pass the same way I would feel while ranking up my levels or earning armor in that way. Again, as mentioned previously, a lot of these features were not in the game at launch due to them being sacrificed by 343 so that the game could be complete and polished at launch. If these features were in the game at launch, I can imagine the game would feel a little bit different to what it does now, aka Battlefield 2042 or Cyberpunk, an absolute buggy mess. So in that respect, I can forgive 343 for putting out a game which has been polished to the nines. I've had very, very little issues with Halo in general over the campaign and multiplayer, and I would probably say that my experience has been almost perfect to this date. But this is what will take Halo Infinite to the next level, and I know that 343 know this. This feature will make Halo Infinite one of the best FPS shooters in existence to date. I am certain of that. Picture a Halo Reach armoring system in Halo Infinite. Earnable credits, having all of the different generations of Mjolnir at your fingertips to unlock, either through ranking up your weapons, doing challenges, or just generally you can go in the store and buy it. There may even be some you unlock at levels which you can use your credits you've earned in game to go ahead and buy them. Not to mention as well, to fit the corporate model, this system would suit microtransactions also really, really well. You can either earn these credits in game, or you can simply just buy them and buy the armor that way, as long as you are that rank. For me, this is the best of both worlds for 343 and Microsoft if that's the direction they want to go. But a ranking system should be at the very top of their list. And we know that this is at the top of their priority, and they did say they are working on some form of ranking system as well, so I just hope Season 2 does bring this. Number 4, an ever-evolving Zeta Halo map. Now, I actually made a video on this exact point the other day, which I will leave linked down below in the description and also on a card on screen right now. But for me, this is an absolutely critical point. Halo campaigns have always had a massive replay factor, just because of everyone's love for the characters in the universe. I could play through the series over and over again and love it more and more each time, and Halo Infinite takes that to another level. Its replay factor is so high that a Halo game with a campaign that you can literally progress at any stage, no in-game loading screens or menus to go from one mission to another. I can literally walk from one mission to my next mission. If you would have told me that back in 2010, I would have thought you were mental. Yes, Zeta Halo is our biggest Halo experience to date, giving you the most freedom that you've ever had with tremendous replay value, with different collectibles and things like that. But what happens when you 100% it? And yes, this is the same with any game that's ever existed. Once you 100% it, what else do you do? But it's a relevant point. Halo's lore gives this game the perfect opportunity to expand Zeta Halo and the ring itself, and gives us new areas to explore. In 2 years' time, after multiple campaign updates, the ring could have fully rebuilt itself and we could have the map very similar to what 343 initially visioned, with different biomes, Easter eggs, maybe even some wildlife here and there, scarabs roaming the areas, collectibles and different characters. This ring or map needs to evolve, and these updates cannot be years and years apart. I don't want the campaign to be a side thought, because it shouldn't be. It's crafted brilliantly and deserves as much attention, if not more, than multiplayer by the devs and even the community. I don't want the campaign to be forgotten or have little effort put into its expansions. Destiny are not the greatest how they run their live service and are not a prime example, but their regular content drops and story DLC is quite good. Not the overall stories of course, but the way it's done and the process that it follows. Every year there's a main DLC title or theme, so in Halo terms this could be the leaked Halo Endless. Then that year 3 expansions drop over that year period with that overall theme in mind. So again, in Halo terms we could have 3 DLCs all relating to Halo Endless in that 1 year. These will of course be smaller DLCs and story expansions and additions, but it keeps the mode and the story fresh and always adds to it on a regular basis, and always leaves us with wanting more. Then the following year, we get the same again, and it continues to follow this process for the 10-year period, and maybe within the 5th year or so, we get a full campaign update and a brand new 8 to 10 hour campaign. Destiny don't starve their fanbase of lore and additions to the story. Yes, their monetization methods, like Infinite's, are not great, but their content drops are a good example of how Halo Infinite could approach theirs, and how we can keep the campaign flowing and rolling over this 10-year period. And number 5, returning characters and spin-offs. Now, I'm bunching these two together because I actually think they complement each other and go in hand. Halo Infinite seems to have ignored a lot of key characters from previous titles and just not mentioned them, or only mentioned them in a couple of sentences in an audio log. Now yes, this is a 10-year game, there's plenty of time for their return, and I agree with this point, and I know a lot of you are going to mention that in the comments. But I want their return to be worth it, and not just for the sake of it. If the Arbiter returned, I don't want it just to be for fan service. I want a badass and meaningful story that the Arbiter can be at the forefront of with the Chief. If the Spirit of Fire come out of the blue, make them the main part of the DLC and give them the limelight. We have many characters that we still have no clue where they are or what happened to them, like Halsey, Lasky, Palmer, Locke, Blue Team, Alpha 9, Arbiter, and most of these were all in Halo 5. Infinite gives you blue balls in every aspect of the imagination, and teaches you in audio logs where characters are or what mission they were sent on. Now again, this is definitely down to the limited development time that 343 had after the multitude of issues that the game's development ran into, but doing it this way means that DLC needs to be chef's kiss. And it needs to do these characters justice. This goes for spin-offs also. There are so many spin-off games that I have in mind and would love to see come to Halo Infinite's DLC, or just generally an absolute separate spin-off. A couple of examples: Halo ODST 2 with Alpha 9 or a completely different squad. Maybe a squad on board the UNSC Infinity as it was being attacked by the Banished. An Elite DLC where you fight with the Arbiter to take back the planet of San Helios, or even as the Shipmaster as your commander. This is a controversial one, but a Spartan Locke DLC, showing how he was defeated and where he was after Halo 5, and his journey back to reunite with the UNSC. I think that would be really good, and if Spartan Locke was written correctly and well, it could turn out to be a very good spin-off. There are many possibilities and options that I would love to see 343 explore, but first I want to know the answers to the questions that we all have in Infinite, as that is my main priority. But guys, do let me know your thoughts and opinions down below on my 5 main points. If you have any additional points that you want to share, leave them down below for myself or for the viewers to read I'd be very interested to read them, and I know that they will also. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, guys. Subscribe if you are brand new to the channel as well. Halo Weekly does come out tomorrow, so make sure you guys do stick around for that. We have a lot to discuss on that episode of Halo Weekly, so make sure you guys do stick around for that. But have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care, and speak soon.